Listen to this story. You are 26 years old. You just lost your job as the result of a back injury. You're in financial straits, already on public assistance, indigenous, and you live in one of the most remote locations in Canada. One night, you're at a local bar blowing off steam, and some stranger you never met before offers you an unbelievable job, along with your wife, in some far off logging camp, complete with childcare included for 2 weeks. But you have to leave that night. So, within a matter of hours, there you are packing up your whole family. Then, leaving in the middle of the night with this stranger, join me for a ride through strange and mysterious here at Odd Mysteries Stories. On a seemingly ordinary Tuesday night, August 1st, 1989, in Prince George, British Columbia, a conversation at the First Lear pub would set the course for a mysterious and heartrending story. So, what jobs were offered? Imagine, if you will, 26-year-old Ronnie Jack grappling with the frustrations of unemployment due to a back injury, while his family navigated the challenges of living on welfare. That night, however, hope seemed to glimmer on the horizon. A stranger approached Ronnie, presenting an opportunity that seemed almost too good to be true: job offers for both Ronnie and his wife, Doreen, at a logging camp or ranch near Cluckles Lake, roughly 40 kilometers west of their location. So, what would the work be? Ronnie would be bucking logs, and Doreen assisting in the camp kitchen, with the added promise of daycare for their two sons, Russell, aged 9, and Ryan, aged 4. Without a car of their own, the transportation offered by this mysterious man to the job site that very night was nothing short of a lifeline. Witnesses later recounted seeing Ronnie and the man leave the pub together around 11 p.m., the latter patiently waiting as the family hastily packed their belongings, fueled by a newfound optimism. A phone call made by Ronnie at 11:16 p.m. to his brother in Burns Lake unfolds another layer of this narrative. The call was an attempt to arrange for their children to stay with his brother, a plan that ultimately fell through. This detail hints at the geographical context, placing Burns Lake a significant 2-hour drive west beyond the supposed job location. The plot thickens with a late-night phone call at 1:15 a.m. to Mabel Jack, Ronnie's mother. With palpable excitement, Ronnie shared the unexpected turn of events, an encounter leading to job offers for him and Doreen, complete with daycare for their sons and a ride to the camp. Despite the apparent good fortune, the conversation took a haunting turn with Ronnie's parting words: "Mom, if I don't come back, come looking for me." This story, rooted in the factual events of that August night, raises several questions. Who was the mysterious man offering such timely assistance? What became of Ronnie Jack and his family after they left for the job site? And how does a moment filled with hope and excitement transform into a lingering mystery? Ronald Paul Jack and Doreen Ann Jack were born into the breathtaking landscapes of British Columbia's north-central interior, a region that juxtaposes its ethereal natural beauty with a darker, more isolated reality. This area, renowned for its majestic mountains, sandy beaches, lakes, rainforests, and proximity to the Pacific Ocean, also harbors a stark contrast to the idyllic images often promoted by tourist boards. It's a land where the beauty of nature meets the challenges of isolation, poverty, and disconnected communities. Central to this narrative is Highway 16, also known as the Highway of Tears, a lonely stretch of road that epitomizes the region's isolation. Spanning 719 kilometers between Prince Rupert and Prince George, it's flanked by dense forests and offers little in terms of connectivity or safety, with vast stretches devoid of phone service or public transportation. It's within this setting that Ronnie and Doreen's story unfolds, both hailing from the Cheslata Reserve near Burns Lake, a small town that, despite its size, boasted a tight-knit community where, quote, everybody knew everybody. Growing up in such a community, Ronnie and Doreen's early lives were deeply intertwined with the land and its traditions. Their experiences reflect a way of life that is closely connected to nature, with practices such as using a horse and wagon for travel, collecting water from Southbank, and learning about trapping and medicinal plants from their elders. This upbringing in a First Nations community provided them with a profound connection to their ancestral land and tradition. Ronnie, known for his friendly and extroverted nature, was also a complex character. With a large family and a love for the outdoors, music, and dancing, he was described as the best out of the whole family. and maintained a close relationship with his mother. His actions, such as supporting his cousin Maria through tough times, encouraging her independence, and promoting education and hard work, paint a picture of a man deeply committed to the well-being of those around him. However, this narrative also touches on darker themes. Ronnie's passion and intensity sometimes veered into violence, with incidents of him hitting Doreen which were witnessed by family members. Doreen's reaction, a mix of laughter and embarrassment, suggests a complex relationship with violence, possibly normalized by her upbringing and experiences. This dual narrative of beauty and darkness, of a deep connection to land and tradition against a backdrop of isolation and violence, encapsulates the complexities of life in British Columbia's north-central interior. Doreen's life wasn't easy. It was a story marked by hardship, trauma, and loss, yet woven with threads of remarkable strength, resilience, and love. Let's explore her journey, piecing together the fragments we have. Doreen's childhood was anything but idyllic. Abandoned by her mother at a young age, she and her sisters, Marlene and Lorraine, faced a difficult reality. Their father, struggling with alcoholism and the weight of single parenthood, often resorted to violence, creating a tense and fearful environment. Despite these challenges, the girls found solace in spending time with their extended family, moments of happiness amidst the storm. Doreen, even amidst the chaos, displayed a nurturing spirit. She acted as a mother figure to her younger sisters, protecting them and instilling values. Whether it was teaching Lorraine to ride a bike or scolding them for taking a baby chick from its nest, her resilience and strength shone through. Though she had a rebellious streak, particularly evident when drinking, she possessed a quiet stoicism, a remarkable ability to, quote, get on with things. Unlike conflicting portrayals of Ronnie, Doreen remained a positive figure. Even Mabel, Ronnie's mother, described her as hardworking, quiet, polite, and trouble-free. However, life threw her curveballs. Placed in institutions, Doreen found herself in a Catholic-run high school where she met Ronnie. Their budding romance offered a spark of joy, but it was tragically dimmed by a sexual assault at the hands of another student. At 17, she became pregnant with Russell, choosing not to involve the authorities in a, quote, a racist town, as Marlene explained. Despite the trauma, Doreen's love for Russell was unwavering. After giving birth, she moved in with her father, but tensions with his new wife arose. Sadly, her father passed away soon after, leaving her and her sisters deeply affected. Driven by hope and longing, they sought to reconnect with their mother, only to be met with anger and rejection. Doreen's endurance faltered, leaving her understandably devastated. Rekindling her relationship with Ronnie, Doreen moved in with him and his parents, Mabel and Casimil. This arrangement seemed harmonious. Mabel adored her son and warmly welcomed Doreen, who helped around the house and even accompanied her on drives along scenic highways. Happiness appeared to blossom. They welcomed Ryan in 1985, and Ronnie's cousin described a normal and content family, with Ronnie treating Russell as his own and striving to provide for them. Doreen's story, though fragmented, paints a powerful portrait of a woman who navigated unimaginable hardships with grace and fortitude. This case has so many details that make it quite interesting and challenging at the same time. Please know that the following information is openly available from many sources, and I believe that each has its importance as it relates to this mystery. First, it's commonly known that the first 48 hours of a disappearance are the most crucial to finding the missing person or person. A television network show even named their series based on this information. However, because of the information that Ronnie gave to his mom on August 2nd in that late night, early morning phone call, saying that the job would last 2 weeks approximately, the actual missing persons report wasn't filed until August 25th. That's over 3 weeks since their last known contact with family members. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, otherwise known in Canada as the RCMP, therefore almost immediately realized that the length of timing was working against them. I am not making excuses for their behavior, but through an objective lens thinking, they've lost so much important time needed to find this family. Next, for those that aren't aware of the demographics in this area of Canada, Prince George is in what is known as British Columbia's north central region, approximately 8 to 9 driving hours directly west of Edmonton, in some of the most remote, beautiful, but sadly isolated regions of the province. Klukel's Lake is approximately 1 hour further west from Prince George. Additionally, his brother, who lived in Burns Lake, was approximately another 2 hours west of Klukel's Lake. In the late 1980s, the population of this city hovered around 60 to 70,000 people. Forestry dominated the local economy throughout the 20th century, including plywood manufacture, numerous sawmills, and 3 pulp and pellet mills as major employers and customers. The spruce beetle epidemic of the late 1980s and early 1990s resulted in a short-term boom in the forest industry as companies rushed to cut dead standing trees before the trees lost value. It's also important to note in my fact finding that there was, and maybe still is, I'm not sure, an obvious tension between the indigenous people that live in the region and the RCMP. I've read in several places where individuals believed that, quote, race plays a role in the veracity of the RCMP to solve this case. Facts I found indicated that since the investigation began, the RCMP have conducted hundreds of interviews, obtained thousands of documents related to the case, and have searched several properties in search of Ronald, Doreen, Russell, and Ryan. The most recent search for the Jack family took place in 2019 at a property south of Vanderhoof on the Saikuz First Nation Reserve. Gowned, penetrating radar and heavy equipment were used. No trace of the Jack family was found. There is a common belief among the locals that the media, along with the police, for reasons unknown, seem to allow the story to receive less than high-profile importance. Again, suspicion is that the family, being indigenous, was a driving factor in the lack of attention in their disappearance. A final fact I wanted to mention is this before we dive into theories on this case. On September 7th, an announcement was made in the Prince George Citizen newspaper, attributed to Ronnie's father, Casimel, by the RCMP, that the family had been located. Subsequent inquiries attributed this announcement to a misunderstanding, yet no further details were disclosed. The origins of this confusion remain unclear, particularly as Ronnie's parents' actions suggested they still believed their family was missing. Around this period, Mabel, Ronnie's mom, took residence in the Jack family's house, turning it into a makeshift headquarters for continued search efforts in the surrounding wilderness with her husband and their son. This pursuit persisted until the onset of the first snowfall of 1989, which occurred in mid to late October. Several months after the initial announcement, the family reached out to the RCMP for an update, only to learn the case had been prematurely closed under the assumption that the family had been found. The precise timing of this inquiry remains vague, falling between mid-October and mid-November. Following this discovery, the investigation was promptly reopened. On November 25, 1989, a brief piece in the Prince George Citizen on page 3 withdrew the September 7th report, clarifying that the alleged sighting was incorrect. This publication marked the first instance of Mabel directly communicating with the press, during which she expressed that such behavior was out of character and highlighted her close relationship with her son. Lastly, this interesting fact received nearly 7 years later, on January 28, 1996, at 8:33 a.m., a mysterious call was received by the RCMP. The anonymous caller stated the Jack family are buried in the south end of Pashka Ranch. The actual location of the ranch is not clear, and the caller, despite being implored to call back, never did. Listen to a recreation of the call here.
RCMP.
The Jack family are buried at the south end of Gordon's Ranch.
Is it regarding the Jack family?
Ultimately, the police were able to trace the call to a house in Vanderhoof, where a house party had been taking place at the time of the call. There were between 6 and 9 people at the party, and investigators were subsequently unable to locate all partygoers. The caller, to this day, remains anonymous, and this is the last clue regarding the family's disappearance. If you or anyone you know has any more important facts relevant to this missing family, please feel free to share those facts in the comments below. There is only one suspect in this case. The man Ronnie was last seen with. The white man stood at about 6 foot 5 inches or 6 foot 6 with a full beard and mustache. Between the ages of 39 and 45 back in 1985, the man weighed about 200 to 275 pounds. He had reddish-brown hair and was seen wearing a baseball cap, red checkered work shirt, faded blue jeans, a nylon blue jacket, and work boots with fringe over the toes. In exploring the disappearance of a family, we encounter several theories, each aiming to explain the unresolved mystery. One prevailing theory suggests a stranger, possibly working with accomplices, targeted Ronnie for reasons not entirely clear. The essence of this theory lies in the use of a job offer extended to both Ronnie and Doreen as a lure. The speculation is that an unusually high salary for Ronnie alone might raise suspicions, so the offer is framed to include Doreen, making it more appealing and reducing the likelihood of Ronnie's refusal. Another theory posits that Doreen was the primary target. In this scenario, the job offer to both is a strategy to ensure Ronnie's compliance, operating under the assumption that a job proposition from a stranger directed solely at one's spouse could be deemed inappropriate. Alternatively, a third theory suggests that both Ronnie and Doreen were intended targets from the outset. The job offer in this context is seen as a dual-faceted trap designed to ensnare both individuals for reasons not fully disclosed. And my final two theories on this case are these. And the first one may be a key theory in that the disappearance revolves around a stranger hiring workers for an operation that wasn't exactly legal or by the book. This operation might have involved activities like unauthorized logging or running an illegal mine, reflecting the looser environmental and workplace regulations of the time. The lack of strict laws, especially regarding endangered species and land rights, meant such operations could fly under the radar with minimal legal risk. Workplace protections were less comprehensive back then, suggesting that if Ronnie and Doreen had encountered any danger or violations, the chances of immediate and forceful intervention by authorities were slim. This was particularly true given the societal context regarding indigenous peoples and the less severe penalties for offenses like drunk driving at the time. Another tragic possibility is that the stranger, potentially under the influence, accidentally drove into a lake, leading to a fatal accident where the family couldn't escape the submerged vehicle. This theory also considers the chance that a surviving family member might have been deliberately silenced by the stranger who feared legal consequences due to his past legal problems. Finally, why I don't think the children were the target of a child abduction plot. Remember the man waited as Ronnie tried to leave the children with his brother? It was only after this couldn't happen that he may have mentioned the job included childcare. So, that is why I don't feel strongly about that theory. Each theory brings its own questions to the forefront. What was the true motive behind the job offer? Why focus on Ronnie, Doreen, or both? Despite the speculations, the ultimate fate of the family remains a mystery, with these theories offering potential insights into their disappearance. Regardless of what theory you believe in, what happened to this family is extremely sad. What do you think? What's your take on these theories? Let me know in the comments. This story of the missing Jack family remains a poignant example of unresolved tragedy, marked by a profound apathy towards the family's fate and the broader community's need for closure. Despite the passage of years, the case has languished, with theories about dubious operations and tragic accidents providing scant consolation to those left waiting for answers. The enduring mystery of the Jack family's disappearance, set against a backdrop of regulatory shortcomings and societal neglect, speaks volumes about the challenges in achieving justice and resolution. The community's longing for answers and the family's right to dignity seem to have been overshadowed by a collective inaction, leaving a wound that remains open in Canada and the region's collective memory. I hope you enjoyed this video and are enjoying the videos on my channel. My name is Vince, and if possible, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting new videos each Monday and Friday. Clicking the little bell will send you a notification when a new video is posted. In the meantime, I invite you to watch one of my other videos on your screen. Thank you.